In this video, we will look at degree of comparison. Now there are 3 degrees of comparison: the positive degree, the comparative degree and the superlative degree. Now let me give you an example. He is as sweet as his mother, right? So as sweet as, the adjective comes in between as and as the form. Comparative degree, he is sweeter than his sister. So you're comparing this boy with his sister, and the form is where the adjective takes up the suffix er. And if I say he is the sweetest of them all in the family, right, that's the superlative degree, where the form is the adjective is preceded by the definite article the, and the adjective ends with the suffix est, right? So let's apply this learning and learn to identify errors pertaining to degrees of comparison through some example sentences.
Let's look at our first example here. Do the roses in your garden smell more sweetly than those in ours? Okay, so sentence divided into 4 parts, no error. Fifth part, do we have an error? Don't we have an error? Now what is happening in this example? If you see, the roses in your garden is compared with the roses in my garden. So the comparison is happening between 2 people, correct? Now, if you see, you have the third part where it says more sweetly. Now, when there is a comparison happening between 2 parties, I would ideally choose the comparative degree where I add an er to the adjective. So if I'm saying I'm going to remove this ly and just add an er. But the next question is, do I need more in front of sweetly, right? So let's find that out. So do I need more in front of sweeter? Is that correct? Now when you already comparing between 2 components and you've added er to the adjective, it is not required for you to have more, right? More is used with just the plain adjective, which is more sweet. This is more sweet than I expected it to be, right? So you don't use more with sweeter. Alright, so in this context we understand that we don't need more. So let's remove that. So usually you use more with, sometimes with 2-syllable adjectives, usually with 3 or more syllable adjectives, right? For example, I could say, his car is more expensive than mine. That makes sense. Are you following? Right? So in this context, because it's the comparison between the roses in your garden and my garden, I just need the adjective with the er bringing in the comparative degree. So to the roses in your garden smell sweeter than those in ours, error is in part 3. You've removed more, which is not required, and you changed the adverb ly form to the comparative degree form, which is er. Let's move to our second example. How is your father today? Is he any well? Okay, my options are good, better, best. Okay. Well, what do you think is wrong? Well is highlighted. Is that correct as it is? Or what is happening here? Now, how is your father today? Is he in a... So, you have a clue word here in the context, today, which means I know that probably he wasn't well yesterday, but how is he today? Again, there's a comparison happening between yesterday and today, or any day before today, right? So, 2 things. I need a comparative form. I don't need good and well, and I definitely don't need the superlative form, which is best, correct? So what do? We go ahead and make that change. This is an easy one. From the options, the only thing that's giving me the comparative degree is option 2, better. Good is the positive degree, better is the comparative degree, and best is the superlative degree. Good, better, best. Alright, so let's go ahead and make that change. So the error is in part, we replace well with option 2, better. How's your father today? Is he any better? Let's look at our final example for degree of comparison. He is the tallest of the 2. Again, if you were paying close attention to my explanation at the beginning, when I was introducing the positive, comparative and the superlative degree, I mentioned something. Now I do know that the example here in front of us says has a superlative degree, right? The tallest. He is the tallest of the two. Well, I do understand that the tallest is the superlative degree because it has the form, the definite article, and the adjective is ending with est. But again, very specifically, I'm having the comparison only between two here. The superlative is used when you're comparing more than two people, right? So here, what do I need to change? I just need to change the superlative degree to a comparative degree, correct? So, of course, the error is in part 2, and we're going to change est to er. So there you are, he is the taller of the two. We made that change.
So that's all we have for the degree of comparison. We've looked at some examples. All you need to do is brush up your basics and know the form in which the positive, the comparative and the superlative degree of comparison appears in a context. Keep practicing. Let's move on to our next component in finding errors.